Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I like to discuss the conduct and the Seerat of the Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Ahmed Mustafa, so that the knowledge of his Seerat, which is already profound and is known to all and sundry in the world, may be further adduced, and I may get the knowledge, and I may receive the love of the Prophet of Islam for discussing his conduct and his seerah. I am such a layman who cannot ascribe to my own self any positive attributes or qualities, but I think that what I like to discuss today is my humble submission before the Prophet of Islam, and I like to discuss the Seerat of the Prophet and bring to light the important events and the important effects of the Seerat on the history of the universe and the history of the world. The advent of the Prophet and the birth of the Prophet of Islam in Arabian Peninsula was a source of blessing for the entire humanity. The Prophet of Islam took birth in the family of Abdullah, his father and mother, Bibi Amna, and he passed his life in difficult positions, but Allah was transmitting to him the eternal knowledge. And after 40, when he received the prophethood, although he was a beloved of Allah since his very birth, but after 40 years he received the prophethood, and he was allowed to spread the message of Islam to the world. As you all know, that times were very difficult. Arab society was a static society. It was subjected to slavery, and instead of one Rahman, they were believing in adults, and 360 they had attributes ascribed to Allah, partners. So it was a very uphill and a difficult task to oppose the existing system. And in a feudal and a tribal society where the laws were already fixed, it was up to Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to announce that henceforth there is only one God and all of us are to follow him, and he is the Prophet of Islam. His message is message of love and peace, but he will not reconcile to slavery, he will not reconcile to worship of idols, he will not reconcile to usury, and he will not reconcile to the killing of children, women, girls, and he will not reconcile to inequality with women folk of that time. So it was uphill task, but in the task, God supported him and helped him. And then he was able to create a band of his followers, great friends of his, like Abu Bakr Siddiq, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Ali, Hazrat Usman, Hazrat Allah, and so many others. And when the wars started at Badr, at Uhud, his dear uncle Hazrat Hamza was his greatest supporter. He gave his life at Uhud. But later on, Prophet of Islam forgave that also for the cause of unity in the Islamic ranks. His Seerat was a shining example, a shining galaxy of love, peace and magnanimity, all combined together in one personality. It was he who was forgiving his enemies. It was he who was making treaties with Christians and Jews. It was he who was discussing with them. And it was he who was discussing intellect and culture and logic on the basis of persuasion. It was not the sword which counted, but it was his greatness, it was his meekness, and it was his decency and love which created a symbolic condition. Not only the Arab society, but that message of Islam went towards Rome, Kisra, all over the world. And that was his Seerat. And I am fortunate, I feel, that my grandfather Khalifa Muhammad Qasim, Khalifa Muhammad Siddiq, Channa, who were the followers of Guru, they imbibed in my blood, and that love of Allah and Prophet was in my blood. And since my childhood, since my early youth, I have been transmitting that message. And this is what also I learned from my elder brother Rashid Channa Sahib, who died, always in trance and love of Allah and the Prophet of Islam. And this is what I learned from society as well. And in that my mentor Halaj and other awliyas, and my Sindh province, my country, Latif Betai and Sachal, they also inculcated that thinking, not only me, but the whole of Sindh, whole of the universe, that Prophet of Islam is a center of excellence, he is a pivot of knowledge, he is a pivot of knowledge, and his conduct and his seerah is unchallenged, an icon of beauty for the entire universe. And when he was born, the minarets of the Caesar's palace and the palace of Kasra in Iran, they were dismantled because he brought for himself love and peace, and it was to his credit to destroy the old citadels of reaction, the old citadels of cruelty in operation. And the Prophet says that oppression and bearing oppression is the biggest crime. You have to take a stand for haqq and stand for rights of the oppressed people, stand for the unity of Islam, stand for opposition to discrimination of all forms, stand against use of usury as it was loot and plunder. So he brought a new format, a new society, a new thought pattern, and that pattern was further, further followed by his friends and his admirers, during Khilafat Rashida and later on. And in the later period, it was the awliyas, walis, who transmitted that message of love. In the initial period, it was the Khilafat Rashida, it was the Sahabas, the Ghazis and the Shaheeds who took forth the banner of Islam. But in the later period, the walis, the friends of Allah, right from Awais Karni to Zulun Misri, to Junaid Baghdadi, to Abdul Qadir Jilani, to Mansur Allah, to Ibn Arabi, to Latif, to Sajjal, Khwaja Ghulam Farid, Attar, all that, they procreated, they generated, they explained the seerah of the Prophet Islam. What is Islam after all? Islam is the seerah of the Prophet of Islam. Islam is primarily first the message of Quran Sharif ordained by Allah on the Prophet's breast as brought by Jibreel. But then the conduct and the practice of the Quran was practiced by the Holy Prophet. So his Sunnah and his teachings were the beacon light of Islamic thought. And Islamic beauty is radiating around the seerah. Today we need to inculcate that seerah. When I was a small child, there used to be a lot of seerah gatherings, but now I find that they are dwindling. I wish that such gatherings should be all over the world, not only in the month of Rabiul Awwal, the month of the Prophet, but all the year round. The seerah is not confined to a particular month, because the message of the Prophet is always alive. It is pulsating, it is throbbing, it is inculcating love and beauty and grandeur. The personality of the Prophet, the teachings of the Prophet, the friends of the Prophet, the family of the Prophet, these are the legacies. These are the legacies left by the Prophet, so that the world may understand as to what was his lesson, what was his teaching. His life was not only confined to 63 years. After 40 years of Nabuwwat, he had 23 years more. And in that, during that period, he was all the time teaching, discussing, analyzing, and creating a healthy climate of peace and love for his followers and his ummah. And I understand that the last doomsday, it is the Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Ahmed Mustafa, who will salvage our moorings and our ships from what we have done. And he is a source of mercy. He is the Ghani, he is the generous, he is the benevolent, he is the dazzling light, he is the illuminary of knowledge, he is the narrator, he is the beauty profound. And sometimes I read also some other writers like Enmer Shamil, I read writers like Liu Messinon, who have written on Islamic study and Islamic thought. They praise Prophet to the utmost. But I think praising is not enough. Attributes of the Prophet and discussing all the time is not enough. Prophet himself was the attribute. Prophet himself was a beauty. It was the seerah which was a beauty. So I wish that we should develop and cultivate the moorings of seerah and explain the seerah to the world today. Today the world is in darkness. Today the world is beset with dangers foretold. Today the world is going through misery, wars and famine and pestilence all over the world. It is the seerah of the Prophet which is the illuminating figure, which is the light of the universe, and that seerah needs to be introduced to the people and told and communicated all over the world. So I think that today I have tried my best to procreate and to generate that climate that the Seerat may be discussed and threadbare all over the world. And this message in English is not for Pakistan or Sindh, this is for all the four corners of the globe. And especially for those people, those Christians, non-Muslims who do not know much about Islam, or Hindus and Parsis, they should also try to understand Islam. And I know that many Christians, Parsis, Hindus have written about Prophet and loved him. And I wish that all of them, if they really love the Prophet of Islam, they will come to the right path. And this is the beacon light, and this is the essence of the human universe, essence of knowledge. And all the philosophies are just a part of the, just nothing before the Seerat of the Prophet. As Halaj says that he is the beacon light. He is the truth. He is the moonlight. He is the Siraj Munir. So God bless you all. And may Allah give us the benevolence and the knowledge to follow the Seerat of the Prophet Islam and create a better society all over the world based on love and peace against discrimination and oppression. Long live Islam, long live the Prophet of Islam, long live Seerat. God bless you all.